Thank you for joining us on Weather Out West on this Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott. Here's what we're tracking for you this morning. It's all calm and sunny right now on the west coast with a few regions with fog and below average temperatures, but that peacefulness may come to an end as many of us are tracking wet weather headed our way. How soon will the rain come to your area? It's a hidden collapse beneath the waves, and scientists say it leads to far more than dying reefs, the tipping point we may have just crossed. And researchers hope a groundbreaking machine will help answer critical questions about our planet's health and how it's holding up as we head into the future. We'll show you an ocean simulator, the ocean simulator they're talking about. Good morning and welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. Today we begin in Portland, where it's pretty standard with some morning fog and some afternoon sun expected, but meteorologist Rod Hill is tracking a storm that has triggered weather impact alerts for Friday and Saturday.
From Portland, which we can see some of it this morning, other parts we can't see because we're in the fog. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. Today's going to turn out to be pretty nice. The fact that the fog bank is not much wider, literally, than the interstate highway, I-5, means that we should be able to break out of this, and we'll go on to be sunny and gorgeous this afternoon. Our big story is what we talked about yesterday. Now we're kind of doubling down on that. This strong rain system coming in Friday and Saturday. There's the initial front Friday, a second front on Saturday. Not the storm of all storms, but it does look to be the coldest and the wettest that we have had so far this fall season. So we have the KGW impact alert up for Friday and Saturday, both days, heavy rain at times, noticeably breezy. I still think there could be a couple of periods, or at least one period Friday and one period Saturday, where the coast of Oregon gets some gusty winds, 40, 50 miles per hour, maybe 55. Obviously, folks will be dressed in rain gears, and if outdoor plans aren't canceled, certainly they'll be impacted, and you'll have your rain boots on, et cetera, for our Friday and Saturday. It will be, we talked about this yesterday, the third weekend in a row of a pretty good rainmaker coming in for a good chunk of our weekend. This is the European model showing rain potential. This is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but Sunday's showery weather. It won't be much total moisture. So most of these numbers, overwhelmingly, represent the rain that will fall Friday and Saturday. And like yesterday, the range along the coast is upwards of 2 to 3 inches, and the range up and down the Willamette Valley is upwards from nearing an inch to as much as about 1.5 inches. And like yesterday, decent amounts of moisture out across all of our state. All right, some live cameras for you. The coast, boy, it's going to be great. Light winds, sunny skies, mid-60s, just as warm at the beach today as it will be in the Willamette Valley. Here's a look at our Timberline camera. Still the snow from last weekend on the ground, but here's the blue sky that Portland will see if we can get rid of the valley fog, and I think we will. Now, speaking of, here's our Salem sky camera. This is positioned, so right here is the state capital of Oregon, down in Salem. Can't see it. That just gives you an indication of how dense that fog has been. There's the Moda Center where the Blazers play basketball, and you can see the fog kind of hovering down over the city, although at ground level on I-5 coming into town, it's not bad. Futurecast shows sunshine this afternoon. There's a weak system tomorrow that we catch the tail end of. So here's early afternoon tomorrow. Now, if this is exactly right, that would be a quick hitting, heavy rain shower hitting Long Beach and Astoria, and then it weakens into a brief passage of some light rain showers over Portland and in Vancouver. If this is right, keep in mind this is one period of a passing rain shower. Most of tomorrow would simply be dry, right? So we have good looking weather really still the next couple of days. Today we think we're going to have afternoon sun and pretty much 60 statewide. This actually shows Bend getting up to 70. If true, that would be one of the warmer spots across our state. And here's our 7 days. So today looking for the afternoon sun. Tomorrow that brief shower chance in the afternoon. Thursday may simply be mainly cloudy and dry, but I can't say there won't be any light rain, so I'm including that chance. And then the impact alert in red for the rainstorm coming in Friday and Saturday. Latest timing suggests that Portland could wake up to dry weather Friday, and the rain would come in somewhere between mid and late morning. And then it's a quieter day on Sunday with scattered showers. Snow levels down below pass level on the day Sunday.
And now we head to Idaho, where the lower valleys are under a freeze warning until tonight. Luckily, there appears to be a warming trend for the rest of the week. Hector Mendoza has more on that forecast from Boise.
Well, it was a cool start here across southwest Idaho for our Monday. And these are some of the temperatures that we saw as we stayed into the upper 50s there through the Treasure Valley. We saw the Magic Valley into the low 50s, which is pretty similar to what we saw out in Haley and some of the mountain spots. But other spots like Stanley and McCall hit the mid to upper 40s yesterday. We continued with some of that sunshine, and that's what continues into today. But the biggest thing that we saw this morning was sub-freezing temperatures across lots of spots here in the lower valleys, as we saw Ontario in the upper 20s, similar there in Twin Falls, right at that freezing mark in Jerome, and into those low 30s for places like Caldwell and even out in Mountain Home. But some temperatures got very close as you look at Nampa, but stayed into the upper 30s, but still a cold morning start with temperatures down into the teens there in Stanley. So again, it was a very cold morning here, but we did continue with a freeze warning that stuck around, that's going to stick around there till about 10 a.m. for today. Again, that includes areas through the Treasure Valley and in through the western Magic Valley before we start to see a little bit of these morning temperatures start to warm up just a bit and stay pretty brisk, but still climbing back up into those low 40s here the next couple of mornings. But again, here's what we have on the way. So we talked about some of the freezing temperatures. Now for this afternoon, we are going to stay warm. We are going to stay dry, and that trend continues all the way through Friday. But once we start to look ahead from Friday in through Saturday, that pattern starts to change as we see a lot more of that rain. Gusty winds start to come along, and we are expecting to see a significant amount of moisture that comes in that brings valley rain and possibly some heavy mountain snow. And that's what we're going to be paying attention to here. So as we look at this future cast, there is going to be some clouds that we'll start to see increase there through Wednesday, but not necessarily bringing in any rain there for that. So as we look at that low system that continues very far through the south, we are going to see some moisture associated with that system, but that center way too far south to bring in any of that moisture that comes in. The only thing that starts to pick up is some of those clouds as we get towards Wednesday. Then as that system moves on through, this next system we're paying attention to comes in from the Gulf of Alaska, and that is going to be a significant pattern change that's going to bring along. So again, much cooler temperatures as a cool air mass starts to come in. It'll drop our temperatures as they'll take a nosedive heading closer in through Sunday, and then we see that rain that starts to come in, and you'll see a lot more of that snow that comes along as snow levels will drop there from Saturday into Sunday, and they'll continue around 4,000 feet as we head on closer in through Monday. So some of these numbers are really going to start to vary, but again, we are expecting it to be a significant system. So see, these are some of the potential numbers we could possibly see, and a lot of this precipitation up in places like Cascade, Chalice, and in through Haley could possibly bring along and be mixed in with some of that snow that we could possibly see, and then we're going to see more of that rain coming along for Ontario and heading into Boise. So these are some of the snow totals that we are looking. Again, some of those snow levels will drop down to about 4,000 feet as we head on into Sunday, and some of those snow totals could bring a few inches of snow for some of the mountain valleys, and there's a possibility of a foot of snow that could come along for some of the higher peaks as we head on towards the beginning of next week. But as we take a look at our 7-day forecast here in Boise, lots of sunshine through Thursday. To reiterate, we're going to see some of those clouds pick up, but still stay warm here in through Friday. A lot more of that activity comes along through Friday night and early in through Saturday, and then after that, for that weekend, we'll see those temperatures drop, and we'll see a lot more rain coming along for Sunday.
Well, an alarming new report indicates that Earth has reached its first climate tipping point, the widespread death of coral reefs. Coral reefs are vital for marine life, food security, protecting coastal areas from storms, and contributing to the global economy. But now, as oceans reach record high temperatures, 80% of the world's reefs have been affected by the worst mass bleaching event on record. A report by 160 scientists worldwide warns that this could be the first of several potentially irreversible climate tipping points, with worse to come if warming continues. The report comes just a month before global government leaders meet for the annual United Nations Climate Conference to talk about their country's goals for bringing down emissions over the next decade. Coming up, we're staying in the Pacific Northwest and checking on your forecast. And it's National Apple Day. We'll show you some fun stats about the fruit and the state of Washington. Stay with us. It's a special day for Washington State's favorite fruit. It's National Apple Day. As Washington's largest agricultural product, Washington is the leading producer of apples in the United States. That's according to the Washington State Apple Commission. They say that 10 to 12 billion apples are harvested each year. That means 6 out of every 10 apples consumed in the U.S. are grown in the state of Washington. The apples grow on more than 175 acres of orchards, and every one is hand-picked to avoid bruising. And here's a boost of cuteness for your morning. 3 African lion cubs have arrived at the Cougar Mountain Zoo in Issaquah from a zoo in Kansas. African lions have lost more than 40% of their population in the past 30 years, so these young lions will serve as ambassadors for their species. The cubs will soon make their public debut in a specially designed nursery habitat. It's a very cute opportunity if you're ever in Seattle to go out to Issaquah. It's a really, really interesting zoo, and all the animals there are actually rescue animals that come from other zoos or were held privately, so it's a good chance to support that cause as well. But check out the weather here in the Pacific Northwest. We're starting off with lots of sunshine around today and a dry day, but that's going to be changing, especially as we hit the weekend, which is shaping up to be wet and very blustery. Here I am with the forecast. Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and we've got a kind of a cloudy start in some places for the beginning of Tuesday. Other spots seeing a little bit of sunshine. Port Angeles getting a little bit of both. They've got some clouds passing through, but you can also see that sunshine coming in and some nice fall colors showing up there, looking down towards the waterfront. And we do have a very weak system moving through British Columbia this morning that's giving us some clouds to the north and actually a few sprinkles as well, but not going to really affect much of the remainder of the sound. And even up there around Bellingham, where you can still see a few raindrops on the camera lens there. Even there, it's going to clear out to sunshine as we head towards this afternoon. So overall, a pretty good looking Tuesday headed our way. Queen Anne Tower Cam showing some of the high clouds associated with that little weak system moving through British Columbia, just kind of passing through and picking up a little bit of color there, and a pretty shot out towards Mount Rainier's silhouette out there in the distance. And it's good to see a little bit of sunshine trying to break through the clouds. Our first look at our 7-day forecast does show we get brushed by a little weak system again tomorrow afternoon. That's going to produce a few more showers than what we're seeing today, and a little bit farther south. Probably a mostly dry day Thursday, but then we do get a couple of systems that move through over the weekend. That is going to be soaking us down, it looks like, and give us some blustery winds. And with that, with all the leaves in the trees pretty much and a lot of summer growth, we may see a few branches come down or possibly some leaves, which are going to plug some drains for some urban flooding, just some standing water on some of the roadways probably over the weekend. And with the blustery winds as well, we might get a branch come down and maybe cause a few spotty power outages with the gusty winds, but nothing really major with that. And we do dry out as we head into the first part of next week. Satellite image doesn't really pick up the one moving through today very well at all. This next one will be pushing through here tomorrow afternoon. We'll see a partly sunny morning and then see it kind of cloud up and might see a few showers around during the afternoon on Wednesday, and then get kind of a break between systems and starting to see this next system begin to show up out there. That one's going to be an atmospheric river, which brings up some moisture from the south, which is going to give us some heavier rainfall, it looks like, as we head into later Friday into Saturday. A couple little impulses will move up through there and keep us pretty wet on into late Saturday when the cold front will finally move through, and then we'll have off and on showers on Sunday. But snow levels, which will start out around 8,000 feet on Friday, dropping down to probably 4,000 feet later on Saturday, and then on Sunday dropping down probably around 3,000 feet, which is down to the Snoqualmie Pass level, where they may see maybe a little bit of slushy snow on the roadway, but mostly any accumulations down to that level will be on the sides of the roads. Looking out at the computer model, you can see not a whole lot going on for today. Things do clear out pretty nicely, and then we have this next system that moves in, goes through here tomorrow afternoon, but just some off and on showers with that. That zips right on through. We're kind of in between systems on Thursday. Might see a few showers out there, but overall probably fairly dry for most folks. And then as we head into Friday, that main band starts to move in for a really wet afternoon on through the evening on Saturday. Little pause. You can see a second system kind of moves up during the day on Saturday, keeping us wet. That finally moves on through, and then we'll start to see it turn to off and on showers as we head into Sunday. And right now it does look like we might clear out a little bit as we head towards the first part of next week. Take a look at those temperatures today. We're going to be running mostly in the upper 50s and low to mid 60s, it looks like. And then as we head towards tomorrow, I'll be running about the same. Might warm up a little bit tomorrow into the low to mid 60s. As we head into Thursday, partly sunny, just a few showers. I said probably dry for most spots on Thursday, but nobody's probably going to be dry as we head into later Friday into Saturday with that steady rain developing. Gusty winds in there occasionally as the fronts move on through the area, and we'll be seeing once again probably some local flooding on some urban streets, etc. Not looking for any river flooding out of this because it doesn't really stall over us for any period of time, but definitely cooler temperatures along with those falling snow levels. We'll see those high temperatures for Sunday and Monday dropping back to the low to mid 50s. And now we head east of the Cascades to Spokane, where they appear to have the calmest weather in the Pacific Northwest. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick tells us about the pleasant few days they have ahead.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Looks like a beautiful day of weather ahead of us. And honestly, the rest of the work week should be pretty uneventful weather-wise. A lot of sunshine and temperatures just above average for the season. But it's going to get a lot harder to eke out any more leftover warmth as we approach Halloween, now a week and a half away. So when I say mild October temperatures, kind of mean 60s and only just. But we will be there for most of this week. So a pleasant few days ahead before these big changes for the weekend, which of course has been a lot of what my focus has been tuned to. As for right now, it is just kind of some thin cloud cover overhead. I would not call this mostly cloudy. I would call this mostly sunny if you step outside and see those high cirrus clouds that won't stop any of that sunshine today. And that sunshine will warm us up by just another small notch for this afternoon. Looking at highs in the upper 50s and maybe close to 60 degrees. I have 60 to 61 on the Palouse, 58 Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and warmest spot around Moses Lake in central Washington at 62 degrees. So this is just ever so slightly above average. The average is still 55 today, and the forecast, as you saw, 58 in Spokane. Really, the only thing that's odd about the weather we've had this October is we still have not hit 32 degrees. Our coldest mornings have been 33, so close on a couple occasions, but usually our average date for that first day at 32 degrees or lower, is October 9th. So we're already 12 days past that, more than almost 2 weeks past that average first freeze date, and still waiting. And we will wait for the rest of this week. Again, slightly above average will stave off that official first freeze, likely for a handful of more days. So the big picture will reveal kind of the overall pattern, which will correlate to what we see on the 7-day in a moment. And this big ridge in the jet stream, and when you're directly underneath the axis, the center point, if you imagine that, well, that puts it right over Spokane at around Wednesday and Thursday, and those should be our warmest days. 60s though, again, mild for October standards. Then we watch the huge trough come in. It'll be a ton of rain for the west side, for Oregon and Washington. But for the inland Northwest and Spokane, we'll get that initial surge of rain during the PM hours on Friday. It's one of the details that isn't quite set in stone if it'll be an afternoon, evening, or nighttime cold front, but we'll get rain at some point. And then that just unlocks really just scattered showers for the remainder of the weekend. Hard to get pinpoint precise in terms of which hours could be the heaviest rain or the most sustained rain. But in general, we will see that we'll get about a ½ an inch or ¼ inch of rain. Nice and revealing, especially when you look at the Washington State view, the difference between 1 to 2 inches on the west side and how the Cascades and the mountains stop a lot of that moisture, or really only let a fraction of it move into eastern Washington. We call this a rain shadow effect. It's definitely pronounced in central Washington, and we start to recover some of that moisture by the time we get to Spokane, Pullman, and Coeur d'Alene. So maybe about a ½ an inch of rain between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday combined, which of course is a lot less than the west side. But in the meantime, with that ridge in place, temperatures are near 60.
And when we come back, Scripps Institute has developed a simulator that can recreate ocean conditions. How scientists hope it can help them study the sea and how the sea and atmosphere interact. Right after this break. A giant tank with wind tunnels and wave machines is one of the world's most advanced ocean simulators. Researchers hope the groundbreaking machine will help answer critical questions about our planet and its health. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz introduces us to the machine called SOARS.
Just steps from the waves at UCSD's Scripps Institution of Oceanography stands a decades-old redwood structure where groundbreaking research is replicating ocean conditions just outside.
So this is where all the magic happens, right?
This is the operations room. This is where we control all the various bits of instrumentation that make up SOARS.
Grant Dean, a research oceanographer at Scripps, has spent 25 years studying seafoam. His research focused on its role in reflecting light into space and producing sea spray aerosols.
It also creates these tiny little droplets called sea spray aerosol. And those tiny particles go up into the atmosphere, and they change the way clouds are formed.
SOAR's, a massive 36,000 gallon tank, provides a close-up view of these processes, something he said satellites simply cannot do. It's also helped researchers study the lasting effects of rising carbon dioxide levels.
And we know that it cycles over a year, but it's steadily going up. That carbon dioxide acidifies the ocean. It makes it slightly more acidic. What is that carbon dioxide going to do to the biology? What's it going to do to the ocean? And what's it going to do to the weather?
With 120 feet of space and a $4 million price tag, SOARS is the only instrument that can simulate ocean conditions from the polar to the tropics.
We can make storms, we can make sea ice, we can grow organisms in the ocean.
SOARS has 4 climate modes, including polar, wind wave, aerosol, and biological, helping scientists better understand the ocean atmosphere boundary, the thin region where ocean meets air.
And you can see with the hurricane force conditions, this population, you were noting it, it really builds up.
Scientists from all over the world book time to use it, testing everything from sea ice to autonomous gliders.
People come in from Poland, they want to make sea ice, they come in for a week or two.
Coastal engineers have also used SOARS to model hurricanes, helping design a concept for a larger simulator to test entire buildings.
It turns out that there are things you can do to buildings, simple things you can do to buildings, to make them resistant to the forces of the winds and the waves.
Dean says understanding these ocean atmosphere interactions has far-reaching implications.
And how does SOARS help the next generation of scientists?
Well, we are unraveling the secrets of this boundary. How important is biology? How does biology impact human health in the oceans and the coastline? What happens in storms? Can we understand and predict better hurricanes? These are the kinds of questions that we're addressing with this machine. We need to know for them what is happening today that's going to influence them 20 years from now, because it's all connected.
And after a red flag warning yesterday, Denver is looking at some calmer weather, and their ski resorts are preparing for the upcoming snow season. All that and more when we come back. Oh, thank you for sticking with us here on Weather Out West. We have more forecasts and stories for you in this back half hour. We start with some more fall weather stories. A drought in Alabama could mean fewer pumpkins on the doorsteps for Halloween and artificial trees in living rooms for Christmas. Pumpkin patch owners say that the lack of rain impacted the number of pumpkins they were able to grow this season, forcing some to bring in pumpkins from places like Tennessee and Michigan. The gourds aren't the only crop taking a hit. Tree farmers in the state say the drought could impact the size of Christmas trees, but the trees planted this year won't be ready to harvest until 2030, so it's a bit too early to know for sure.
The prices have gone up just simply because of everything in the nation has gone up. So therefore, gas prices have gone up, seed have gone up, fertilizer, yes. So the price of pumpkins have gone up, yes.
And snow enthusiasts, rejoice. The snowmaking process is underway at several Colorado ski areas. Some Colorado mountain resorts took advantage of the cold weather and they fired up their snow guns to begin prepping for the 2025-2026 season. Loveland Ski Area began making snow last Monday and is aiming for an earlier opening than last season's November 9th start. Copper Mountain is targeting a November 7th opening, with alpine race training starting October 24th to prepare for the upcoming World Cup events. And Keystone Resort and Arapahoe Basin do not have opening dates yet, but they'll announce them as soon as conditions allow for skiers. And meteorologist Kathy Sabin and Jaden Knowles will let us know what's happening around the Denver area today.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. It has been an interesting fall week of weather with a shift in the weather pattern that has transported an area of low pressure over northern Colorado that produced an epic wind event on Monday. The high and low finally separating, so the gradient is easing, and now we're off and running to a warming and drying trend with the storm track to the north of us. But the low passing over northern Colorado created winds out of the northwest to about 60, 70, almost 80 miles per hour, and also brought in enough cold air for a little bit of light snow over some of the northern mountains. No winter weather or travel advisories posted, but some folks Monday morning caught off guard, not paying attention to the weather, ran into that snow on I-70. The whole system is shifting into the Midwest. You can see the counterclockwise circulation, so there's some cool air that's kind of pooling and moving down in along the Front Range. So freeze warnings were posted this morning, frost advisories. The wind let up, the skies cleared, and good radiational cooling meant a chilly start to our day today with temperatures in the 20s and lower 30s. High pressure's coming back over Colorado, but as we look off to the west, a little moisture is approaching, so that's something to watch for later in the week. The biggest impact with showers will be from our system in the Midwest, Minneapolis, Chicago, into New York today. We do have a little push of moisture coming in from the southwest, but Futurecast indicates very little in the way of even cloud cover for us. So we start cold this morning, upper 20s, lower 30s, and then we'll see those temperatures soar as the winds shift out of the west and southwest, and that'll push us back above the average of 63 into the upper 60s today, close to 70. So today will be calmer and warmer at 68. Similar forecast for Wednesday. The next wave is a weak system crossing Colorado that could bring a rain shower, believe it or not. And a little bit cooler Thursday, Friday, and a little bit warmer for the weekend. Our Broncos take on the Cowboys at 2:25 on Sunday with a kickoff temperature of 66 degrees.
Well, why did we see a day like we did see yesterday? I'm talking about those gusty conditions, really just a terrible bad hair day. Well, I'm going to break it down to you with this experiment. Here's an experiment. You got two cans. Now, we know that air pressure is always trying to reach a state of balance or equilibrium. Now, wind is formed in an attempt to restore balance from differences in the air pressure. In this case, between the can inside and outside of the can, the air we're talking about. Once that pressure is equalized, the wind will finally stop. So the greater the difference in pressure, the stronger the wind will be. Now let's talk about on a bigger scale, a bigger picture. Of course, I'm a meteorologist. Every time I come in here, we're looking at different weather patterns and things of that nature. So let's talk about the weather pattern. It's the same thing as the cans. We're talking about the air pressure is always trying to reach a state of balance. And that's exactly what happens when you have that low pressure system and high pressure system. So let's just say this high pressure system is right over the state of Colorado and the low pressure system is over towards the East Coast. Noticing that small change in pressure, we're talking about the weak winds. That's when we'll see weak winds, especially all the way down towards parts of Texas. The bigger the high pressure system is or the low pressure system is, that big difference will cause the strong winds. So that's the same thing that we just saw with that experiment, and that's really the same thing that we saw yesterday with our weather. The reason we did see those gusty conditions is because we had a low pressure system just off the north, just kind of through Wyoming parts, and it was sent down a cold front, and that's the reason we had those gusty conditions up to 70 miles per hour in some locations. Luckily, the next couple of days, we're going to see the nice and calm winds, and guess what? Because we have this good weather guide, it's like what I like to call it here, the high pressure system, we will see the nice and warm temperatures.
And next, we check in with meteorologist Jen Wall in Phoenix. They're looking at a warmer Tuesday before windy weather hits Arizona midweek.
Hey, good Tuesday morning to you. Take a look at temperatures across Phoenix. You're waking up to the upper 60s, pretty much where we were yesterday. Today is basically going to be a carbon copy. Then we have some changes on the way tomorrow. Mid 50s right now, Sedona right around freezing in Flagstaff. That means your valley temperatures, a mixture of 50s and 60s. So it is a cool start to your Tuesday. You're going to want that light jacket potentially if you're still kind of hanging on to those summertime highs. And then you could definitely lose it later on today as temperatures climb quite a bit. Phoenix 66. We have light wind. The wind is really going to shake things up tomorrow statewide. And for the next 5 days, we do have a warm up before we start a cool down. So take a look today and tomorrow. A few degrees above average across Phoenix. That puts us in the low 90s. Then we're down to the 80s by Thursday, almost a 10-degree temperature drop. We have a pretty weak system. It's off in the Pacific, and it's going to be making its way through. And as it does that, yeah, it'll lower those temperatures over that 12 to 24 hour period. So it is going to be a warmer day today, above average, breezy Wednesday statewide, and then isolated storms expected to hit Wednesday and early Thursday north. We are not expecting any rain around the Phoenix area. We're more looking at Flagstaff for this one. But wind speeds, we could see them to be around 10 to 15 miles per hour in Phoenix, maybe a little breezier to the north. And right now, your satellite radar is really not doing a whole lot. It's just kind of clear as we wait for this very weak system. So average highs this time of year, 87. We see them continuing to drop rapidly. However, our high today will be about 3 degrees above at 90 in Phoenix. So a little bit warmer than we should be as we're looking ahead to the rest of the week. Your hour by hour Phoenix will keep things in the 60s through 8, jump into the 70s by 10, 80s by noon, and we are expected to sit in the low 90s today for the start of your week. So here's a look at your Flagstaff hour by hour. You can see wind is not really an issue around Flagstaff either today, maybe about 5 to 10 miles per hour, but we'll be in the 50s by 9 and then 60s by 11 to 1. And we do jump into those low 70s for just a little while later this afternoon. Temperatures statewide will be in the low 90s from Gila Bend to Quartzsite, Parker, Lake Havasu, Phoenix, low 80s in Globe, upper 70s Payson, Sedona, Flagstaff at 70. And that's about where the Grand Canyon will sit at 72. So very close daytime highs there. Around the valley, pretty much 90s everywhere we look. This is definitely going to feel a little warmer today. Apache Junction looks to be the only upper 80. So your 7-day forecast, we have 2 days with low 90s. That's going to be today and tomorrow with some of those clouds there. Then again, we drop it down by Thursday. A lot of sunshine to welcome in the weekend. And you can also see that our daytime highs do rise into the weekend right at about average range. 87 Saturday, 86 Sunday, and we keep it dry through the start of next week. Just a little different look in Flagstaff with that storm chance on Wednesday. You're in the 60s tomorrow and then down to the 50s by Thursday. Take a look at the weekend, a mixture of 50s and 60s, dry skies, a few clouds, and chilly overnights right around freezing.
And coming up, we head to the Golden State for their forecast, and we'll meet a new resident at the San Francisco Zoo. Before we hear the forecast from Monica Woods, let's meet the newest San Francisco Zoo resident who made his first official appearance last week. He's a 26-year-old silverback gorilla named Cecil. He came to the Bay Area from Louisville Zoo in Kentucky. He got here in August and has been gradually adjusting to his new home. He's joining 3 female gorillas who already live at the zoo, and he'll be the only male gorilla in the group. Zookeepers say his genetics are a strong match for the female gorillas, and they hope he'll eventually start a family. And now to Northern California, where they're having quiet weather to start the week. Meteorologist Monica Woods is tracking light showers Wednesday, but a bigger weather system for the weekend.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're looking at some changes again for our work week forecast. In the short term, it's going to stay mostly sunny along the coast, a light breeze for the valley, beautiful fall colors for the foothills, and mild for the Sierra. Talking about those fall colors, we really have some spectacular scenes out there right now. Had some fresh snow last week, and so we're still looking kind of at the tail end of some color in the higher elevations. This is a look at Bishop Creek Canyon from Jeff Simpson, and a look at Mammoth Mountain, which is pretty close to Bishop's Creek Canyon. You can see the snow just kind of highlighted with some of those beautiful fall colors, still hanging on by a thread basically on those trees. June Lake Loop, also in Mono County. Beautiful scenes there. That snow with the landscape of the tree colors is just dynamic here as those drives throughout the high country are really illuminated by that color. Love to see the wildlife out there as well, and more rain and snow on the way. And we're going to be tracking a couple of different weather systems. One comes in for the middle of the week. This is going to predominantly be a factor for Southern California, but stretch all the way into almost Northern California, kind of riding that I-80 line. We'll see a chance of some showers develop mainly for the central and southern Sierra. A light dusting of snow. That's about it. This isn't a huge system, and it's out of here pretty quickly, only for about a 24 to 36 hour time frame there. A much bigger system on the move, though, diving out of the Pacific. This is a classic atmospheric river. Now, the potential is there for bigger impacts, including widespread rain and snow. Consider your travel and outdoor plans for the weekend. This starts up on Friday. And again, this is a pretty classic atmospheric river. It's going to be moving its way in late Friday through Saturday and Sunday. But there is a lot of uncertainty with these weather models here. You can see the European model is moving that storm right through northern and central California, whereas the global forecast model, that is going to keep it well to the north. And that one in particular has really been pulling back on the opportunity of heavy rain and snow and through the capital region. So our weather changes are on the move. Moderate to high confidence, we will get cooler than average temperatures and at least some showers. Lower confidence on rain and snow totals, as well as the timing and duration. How long does this stick around? Is it going to be a 24, 36, 48 hour event? That will all continue to come into alignment as we head into the end of the week. In the meantime, got a beautiful Tuesday on tap. Highs will be near 70 up top for the Sierra. 70s and 80s down low, just a little bit above average. Now, we're still dry for our Tuesday in Yosemite. Expect some snow showers, though, into our Wednesday. We'll see highs in the 80s for the Central Valley, including the San Joaquin Valley, with highs right around the low to mid 80s. Central Coast, we're still dry. Nice light breeze will continue to keep us with minimal fog. We'll see our highs in the 60s and 70s, 80s inland. Bay Area forecast highs are going to stay in the 70s inland areas in the 80s, and our northwest coast right around 70 to 75 degrees. Our north end of the valley will be in the 80s, and our capital region pretty close to actually those conditions as well. We'll stay in the lower 80s. We see a pretty big change, though, coming our way for the weekend outlook with a drop in temperatures. Again, that weak weather system brushes us on Wednesday, but the bigger event still looming for Saturday and Sunday. That could really open things up for the opportunity of some bigger rain and snowfall totals. We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, some great fall weather out there.
Now let's travel down I-5 to Southern California, where we will hear from meteorologist Vanessa Paz again. She has the forecast for San Diego, where temperatures are cooling down.
Well, happy Tuesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. All right, as we get our work week going, we have some changes. We're talking about temperatures come crashing down towards the middle of the week. So here are the weather headlines. Tomorrow, patchy fog, drizzle, cool and windy conditions, all due to a trough of low pressure that's going to kind of dive in and settle over central California. Thursday, we're expecting clearer conditions, and then Friday, that's when we'll be in between systems, and we can expect some slight warming by that time. As we take a look at today's highs, we are going to be a little cooler than yesterday, especially for the coastal areas. We'll be anywhere between 3 to maybe 5 degrees cooler. We'll still shoot for the 70s along some of our neighborhoods from Oceanside all the way down to Carlsbad, as well as downtown San Diego. However, Del Mar will sink into the 60s. Another day of 80s for interior parts of the county. High 70s from Vista all the way towards Fallbrook. 77 forecasted for Palomar Mountain. High 70s in Julian, and Borrego Springs will be producing highs in the low 90s. So here's that trough of low pressure. It's going to center itself over central California, saturating the Sierras as well as some parts of Northern California, but it's not really going to do much for us here in Southern California. It's just going to amplify onshore flow, bringing in that marine layer, which does have the possibility of sprinkling some showers. So this is Wednesday overnight into Wednesday morning. You could see a lot of that green on the maps here, indicating some light precipitation. Nothing significant overall. If anything, we'll have some patchy mist and spotty drizzle, and then we'll have partial clearing Wednesday afternoon until that marine layer makes a return Wednesday night. This is also going to be a high wind event. We're expecting some pretty gusty winds, especially for the county's eastern half along the eastern slopes of the mountains and desert areas. Isolated gusts, the highest gust could be anywhere between 30, 40 miles per hour, but we'll notice a breeze, a light breeze for the coast and inland valleys, again, as that westerly flow starts to strengthen there. That continues all the way through Wednesday night, and then those winds start to subside on Thursday. All right, so overall, we have a cool down ahead. Here's what we're expecting for Wednesday's highs across the county. Versus average will be anywhere between 4
to nearly 10 degrees below our 30 or normal. I'm forecasting a high of 70 degrees tomorrow afternoon for downtown San Diego. High 60s in the South Bay, low 70s in Vista, mid 70s in El Cajon, 72 tomorrow afternoon for Ramona, and we'll hit 60 degrees in Palomar Mountain. I know a lot of people, it's fall and all we want is the rain and those cozy conditions. Unfortunately, we are going to stay pretty dry. This is, in fact, the rain chances for the mountain areas. Pretty much slim to none. Sure, we have that 5 to 10% chance, but again, anything we see in the form of precipitation will be in the form of just misty conditions. The drought monitor showcases that most of the regions still under that severe extreme level, so we are in desperate need of rain, but unfortunately it looks like we are clear of any, at least through next week. So the reason why there's that rain icon is because of the patchy mist that we're expecting for later on this evening into Wednesday morning, and then we're looking at just partly cloudy conditions all the way through Thursday. Inland valleys will shoot into the low 80s this afternoon, and temperatures will come crashing down looking ahead to Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday will be some of the coolest days of the week, and then temperatures warm up slightly Friday before dropping again this weekend.
There is a mysterious glow in our galaxy, and scientists believe that they may have figured out what it is. When we come back, the out-of-the-world discovery they made. Take a look at this. Scientists may have come up with an out-of-this-world discovery. New research shows a mysterious glow in our galaxy might come from dark matter. That's an invisible form of matter believed to be 5 times more abundant than regular matter. The glow was first found by a NASA telescope in 2008, and some believe the light was caused by exploding stars. But recent tests from supercomputers show collisions of dark matter might be responsible for the illumination. Dark matter was first theorized in the 1930s and confirmed in the 1970s by 2 U.S. astronomers. Despite extensive research, scientists have yet to observe dark matter directly, which is how its name evolved. Tropical storm Melissa formed today in the Caribbean and is forecasted to be on a path towards Haiti. The U.S. National Hurricane Center issued a hurricane watch for parts of Haiti, while the Jamaican government issued a tropical storm watch for the island. Melissa is about 300 miles south of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, with maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour so far. Officials said Haiti and Dominican Republic could see 5 to 10 inches of rain by Friday. And before we let you go, here is a fun health fact for you people who have trouble going, should put their kiwi fruit on their plate. A recent report in a medical journal on human nutrition and dietetics says that eating 2 or 3 kiwi fruits per day can make a difference with constipation. Researchers say roughly 10 to 20% of people suffer from a form of constipation, which can be caused by stress, lack of exercise, and low fiber intake. If kiwi fruit isn't an option, other foods that can help include prunes, rye bread, yogurt, and oranges. So we end your morning with some dietary suggestions around the area. We'll take a look at that satellite image for the West Coast, looking out there into the Pacific. You can see we do have a little storm system off the coast. That one's going to weaken as it goes by, but farther out there, you see other ones starting to push into a site. That's going to be that atmospheric river the meteorologists have been talking about. We expect could be pushing into the West Coast and especially affect Northern California up into the Pacific Northwest. But shorter term, looking pretty nice for around the San Diego area with some sunshine there. It'll be a little too far to catch them as it moves inland over the western U.S. Boise, looking at a few showers as we head into the weekend from that system as it pushes into the West Coast. And looking at the Seattle forecast, we're looking for that rain to move in, probably catching the Friday evening commute, which is not good news for commuters for sure. Looks like a rainy and breezy weekend, especially on Saturday. And those snow levels may come down to the highway pass levels, including Snoqualmie Pass, as we head into later Saturday and Sunday. So that'll be the first time this year we might actually accumulate some snow up there at the base of most of the ski areas up in the Washington Cascades. Around the Phoenix area, as usual, a different story. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures today warming up into the mid to upper 80s as they get into their spring-like weather for them. Not their spring, but most people's springs. Checking out Denver, they've got temperatures mostly in the 60s as we head into the weekend, and just a chance of a little bit of rain there moving in on Thursday, dampening things down. And over the weekend, back to sunshine. Looking at Portland area, they're going to be seeing that storm system move in out of the Pacific and looking for rainy and breezy conditions as we head into the end of the week and over the weekend. Definitely getting into fall weather around the west, that's for sure. And over in Spokane, they're looking pretty pleasant right now with sunshine the next few days. And then we'll see some showers moving in there as we head into the weekend as that system pushes inland over that area. So overall, it definitely is turning into a pretty good fall pattern that's going to be with us. It looks like at least into the first part of next week, if not beyond, as we head on towards the end of November. That does it for us here on Weather Out West. Thank you for watching today. We appreciate your keeping track with us of what's going on around the western U.S. weather-wise. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Weather Out West.